we're gonna talk about Godzilla. We're gonna talk about Godzilla first because
Hey.
I
Watch
didn't
our numbers go
realize
down
I
because you said
need you.
positive.
I know, right? I need
Why
you
you
guys
say
to
that,
just
Hypno?
let me know if this is accurate. But does this really have like a $15 million budget? Is that
Yes,
right?
it does.
This fucking
15
movie has a
million?
Hey.
$15
Godzilla
million
-1, right?
budget. Are
What?
you kidding me?
Yeah.
It is gorgeous. They
No.
How
every
does this
dollar
movie
shows on
have?
screen.
Bro, this is what I'm talking about every fucking week, man. There's no way that a movie like this has a $15 million budget that looks this fucking good, and then you have a movie like The Marvels with a $300 million fucking budget that looks like
Right.
shit. Like, how do you even? You have to start questioning where the money's going.
Know
You
your
have-
customer.
Yeah.
Passionate about
You
it.
really
It's
do.
very, very easy. Know your customer.
Even the
creator,
well,
Money laundering.
Go ahead,
Actor.
Trez.
even the creator was 80 million. So
Mhm.
I'm questioning where all this money is going. Because
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be going
Like-
on effects, does it?
Well, Trez,
None of
you
you
say
are
the
Atreus.
actors.
Atreus, speak.
no, I was just saying the actors and actresses.
Yeah, but Brie
No, it's more than
Larson
that.
and fucking what's the other two names? Aman Vellani, they didn't take up the majority of that 300 million though.
No way. They just got finished striking over not getting
No,
it.
it went to their.
I thought it was
the new.
understood. I thought it was understood that the reshoots is what ballooned their budget up.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
tends
but
to
even
be
without
what it is.
reshoots, that movie
That
was
much?
bare minimum like
Not that much, come on.
175 million.
Guys, it's all over the place. Even when we're building like regular stuff, somehow all these builds kind of they grow mysteriously. It's always like fees and other costs, and then these movies they got out of control. I mean, look at this. We take it for granted that this costed somewhere nearly $300 million. Are you crazy? Like,
But not only just that. If you go and look at how Twitter was operating, you don't think they operate behind that in liberal Hollywood, where
Yeah.
the crew is coming
yeah, of
in
course.
instead of feeding people sandwiches and chips, they probably feeding them gourmet meals from
They are.
Nobu and shit. Everybody eating good.
I can literally
everybody
tell you that they are.
Yeah, like they
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
the cameramen eating lobster and shrimp over in Japan. You think they feeding them that? They feeding them.
Like,
feeding
back
them
to work,
food,
dickhead.
dog
Why?
food and shit. Like they're
Why?
not doing that. You got people sleep. Their freaking their trailers are probably got souped up toilets and king size beds and shit in it. Over in Japan, they're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? You'd be lucky to get a box.
But it goes
By the
to
way,
show.
I do have a question. Was
Yeah, sir.
this movie like produced by a big studio? Or is this like a separate studio in Japan? Can you
Are
give
you
me some?
out your goddamn minds? Or do you not know who does the Godzilla movies and you call yourself a nerd?
I was
It's
just about to
fucking
say.
I
Toho,
don't.
bro.
I never cared about
Your feminine
Godzilla
voice
until
kicked
like
in.
Toho,
later.
Yeah, I'm not
they're
really a
one of the most
Godzilla guy
prominent
myself.
Japanese studios of all time. They've done every Godzilla movie that was Japanese since 1954.
Well,
Guys,
my
I think at this point, Dragon Slayer is definitely cancelable.
Oh my
First we
God.
had
Oh,
we had the
Zelda
Link
wasn't
interaction.
Deeply so.
We had
No, I
calling
simply
Link Zelda.
just, like-
That was bad. Now we got I don't know who made Godzilla. Dragons, man, God damn
Bro,
it,
I
Dragon
was
Slayer.
just
Dragon
saying.
Slayer,
like,
Dragon
I
Slayer.
thought at first it
You're
was
a
different
fucking
studio.
Latino Dragon
Don't
Slayer.
you realize,
you're
man.
making
Fucking
us look
Latino.
terrible. God, fuck, man.
See, we say we're going to
Damn.
talk about.
I
the
never
news, but
cared
all we
about
are doing is
Godzilla
watching
okay,
each other.
until recently. All
Do
right.
what I
Wow.
do, Dragon. Just
Godzilla
be
never cared about
quiet.
you.
Just be
Anyway,
quiet.
Black
it's-
Lives not or Black Lives as Dragon is a fake geek girl.
You.
That's a
But let's
term
look
I
at these
haven't
numbers,
heard in a
man. So
long
this is first day numbers. This is Friday only. Now keep in mind this movie is only available in 2,300 theaters domestically.
That's what
about
I was
half.
wondering.
That's half of what the Marvels had. Now I think this is going to be one of these movies where what's going to happen, it's going to start off with 2,300 theaters, and probably by word of mouth as the movie
Yeah.
starts to succeed more and more, it's probably going to go to 3,000
Oh,
theaters
yeah.
most likely, and then
Like
eventually
Sound of
taper
Freedom.
off.
It'll
Yeah,
definitely go
exactly.
up
Sound
more
of
for
Freedom
sure.
started off with like almost nothing, and then eventually got adopted by thousands of theaters. So
Well,
this
I
is
also
probably going to
want
be
to
the
say
same
that
situation.
international budget or box office is Japan only. When you do the drop down box to click domestic and change to international, it's only Japan. This has not actually been released truly internationally yet. So that's
Right.
only from one fucking country.
Well, I mean that is the primary
Yeah, that makes
audience.
sense.
I would imagine
It
that would
makes
make
sense.
sense, right?
Of course,
So
yeah.
But Godzilla's
you got to
big
imagine this
everywhere.
movie is going to explode once it actually goes out to different not only more theaters in the US but different actual countries. I think it's going to be insane.
But
This
isn't
movie
there,
will
like,
obliterate the Marvels.
Isn't this
Godzilla's
like
gonna obliterate that stupid movie.
yeah?
The Marvels has done
That's
so
that's a nice
pathetically well.
analogy,
It's unbelievable.
right? What we're having right now. I mean, this is like a studio that's been doing this consistently for decades now. They know their customers. They're very passionate about like the source material, and they're just consistently like bringing out new facets and new versions. But it's always the same canon, and that's why it's successful because customers love it, fans love it, the nerds love it. They appreciate a refreshment here and there, a new installment, a new movie, but consistently you've been creating around this Godzilla IP like billions of products, and people still appreciate them. And it's crazy that nowadays we have to, like, even the comic book market in America, look who's selling, like who's really selling. It's Japanese stuff, it's Asian
Yeah,
stuff.
it is. It's anime. It's manga.
But you know what?
Yeah.
You know what's,
Yeah.
what's great about that though is when you get these IPs that come over from the East, they always want some sort of involvement, and they always put I mean, look at what the guy did with One Piece. He was like, "Yeah, y'all ain't fucking making this shit unless I have some say in it." Not like hate to say it, your boy from
Cowboy Bebop.
Europe who allowed Netflix to do The Witcher without his say. And look at the results of that. The Asians don't be playing that, man. They be like, listen, you ain't making shit with none of that bullshit y'all be putting in it. I don't want no American
is true, yeah.
propaganda in it. You just gonna make it.
Kryptonite is
That's not exactly true. That
Hey,
was
chill.
a
Well, the Witcher
disaster.
writer wanted his stuff in there, but they just rejected it every time.
I mean, rightfully so. You were talking about how these
Except for that Monster Hunter movie, that was some bullshit.
right.
You can't
No,
tell
that-
how much
that-
people care about what they're making. Like the guy Eiichiro Oda has been drawing One Piece since 1997. He like had the outlines of that world in high school. There's no way he was going to let anybody touch that without his involvement. He's, I respect the hell out of it. That's exactly what should be happening with absolutely everything. They should have had Lucas involved in Star Wars. They should have more people who actually like Doctor Who involved in Doctor Who, so we don't get.
But
what
we too focused
No.
on
In reference to Godzilla, though, Will, that happened. Like we saw that in the '90s when American company, when Toho was approached by an American company, Paramount, I believe, and said, "Hey, we want to do Godzilla." And they're like, "Yeah, go for it." And it was Godzilla '98, the most atrocious, not even really a Godzilla movie of all time. Japan fucking said, "All right, no more. We're not letting you do this again." And it wasn't until Legendary Pictures in 2015 or whatever finally convinced them, "Let us try again. Let's do American." It took almost 20 years for Japan to be like, "All right, America, we'll give you another shot." And to be fair,
Same
as a
with
lifelong
Nintendo.
Godzilla fan, one of my favorite IPs of all time, the American Legendary films are actually, they're not bad. There's
I think
stuff that's-
they're good. The human element of it,
Right.
Right.
but
Yeah.
Godzilla himself, I love the fact that they built up, because I remember sitting in the audience, and 45 minutes in the movie, I'm like, damn, where my nigga Godzilla at? And when they finally showed him off, it was an applause worthy situation when we was in the theater. That's at least how
Speaking of applause, when I went to the theater to see Godzilla on Wednesday, it was literally one of it ended with applause. Everyone, your boy included, stood up and we were clapping. Like I love it when that happens in theaters. It happened when I went and saw Dragon Ball Resurrection F. It obviously happened in Endgame when people stand up and applause as if it's a live, as if there's live watching you. Like that.
Interesting, though.
Fucking speaks.
But that's
to
why
you.
you go to the theater, though. You go to the theater for that experience. You can't get
Exactly.
that at home. You know what I'm saying? And that's why so many movies these days, it's impossible to really get that. People walk out the fucking theater disappointed 9 times out of 10, which is honestly pretty damn sad. So, and you're not the first person to say that their theater fucking stood up and cheered. We were talking in chat with other people, and they were all saying when they got out the theater, man, people were cheering after the movie was done, that's great. And again, I just can't wrap my mind around it, because people are saying, well, $15 million in USD is actually a hell of a lot more in yen. So that's why it seems like it's so drastic. But my thing is, all right, let's make this movie 30 million, 45 million. It's still fucking insane for that amount of money. Like, think about how much this movie would have cost if it was made in the US. Just shot for shot, how much this movie probably would have cost.
We can compare it. We've got the recent American Godzilla films, which were exponentially more expensive. They were like in the 100 mil range. Which, again, to be fair, those are movies in my opinion are actually the better than Marvel. They used their budget well, but still, 100 million versus 15 million. Clearly, we didn't need that extra 85 mil.
Yeah, but we're also talking about different working philosophies. I mean, over here,
Absolutely.
here things are just blown up. They're bigger marketing. Everybody is making more money out of it. It's a different financial system, if you want to call it so. Of course, the Japanese way of producing movies, like sitting in these buildings and just being like an army, they're like, this is a boot camp over there.